How to learn words. On Tuesday, I returned to school. One of the students asked an intriguing question that caught my interest. She inquired about the best method for learning new words. Our teacher responded, explaining that there are numerous ways to expand one's vocabulary. She mentioned, "I will tell you the statistically most effective method for learning new words. It is through reading. People who read while learning a new language acquire new words twice as fast as those who don't. It's beneficial to read for at least 30 minutes daily." She then elaborated on what one should do to maximize the benefits of reading. Firstly, it's crucial to choose a book or text that genuinely interests you. It's important to enjoy what you're reading, whether it's a captivating story or contains useful information for your job or hobby. Avoid reading material that doesn't engage you. Moreover, it's beneficial to select a text where you're familiar with most of the words, as encountering too many unfamiliar words can be frustrating. The goal is to enjoy all activities involving English. It's recommended to choose a text that suits your level and interests. When you come across a word you don't understand, you should look it up in a dictionary and then continue reading. There is no need to write down the word, make a list, or try to memorize it. Focus on understanding the text. Once you grasp the meaning of the new word, proceed with your reading. Each time you encounter a new word, follow this process. Reading not only helps you learn new words, but also teaches you how these words connect with others in sentences. This method helps you understand how to link words correctly, making it a highly effective way to expand your vocabulary. Try it, and you'll see how quickly you can learn new words. After this discussion, we continued our lesson, talking about the situation in England and the best jobs for students. This topic was of particular interest to me because I'm looking for a job. I asked other students if they knew where I could find one. They suggested visiting a job center, which offers many opportunities for students. I was glad to know where to look for a job. After school, I went to the job center, unsure of what jobs I could do. I asked the lady at the office for advice on the best job for a student. She suggested roles such as a cleaner or a waiter in a cafe. I expressed my lack of experience in these areas, but she reassured me that my English was good enough to work in the cafe, the training was not difficult, and it would provide more opportunities to practice English than being a cleaner. She told me I could start on Thursday, and I felt happy to have a job where I could practice my English. To improve your vocabulary, it's beneficial to read effectively for 30 minutes every day. How to learn pronunciation. On Wednesday, I went back to school. A quieter student in our class, who is from South Korea, asked a question. He expressed his concern about his pronunciation, saying he knew it wasn't very good and wasn't sure how to improve it. He mentioned that he reads and watches a lot of English movies, understanding them well, but still wanted to enhance his speaking skills. He asked if there were any specific methods to improve pronunciation. Our teacher responded by explaining the importance of using the muscles in our mouths when speaking. She noted that when speaking English, students often use these muscles as they would in their native language, leading to different pronunciations. This is common among students learning English. Almost everyone has a slightly different pronunciation than native speakers. However, this isn't a major issue since people usually understand the meaning despite imperfect pronunciation. She introduced us to a technique called shadowing. This technique involves listening to a recording and immediately repeating what you hear, imitating the sounds as closely as possible. This method is similar to how children learn their first language, copying their parents until they master pronunciation. She advised us to choose audio or video recordings that are not too fast and that we can understand well, then practice shadowing them. Our teacher demonstrated this technique by finding a good video on shadowing on YouTube, and we practiced for about 3 minutes. She emphasized that shadowing is also beneficial when preparing for a presentation in English and aiming for pronunciation as close to native as possible. Practicing shadowing for 10 minutes before a presentation can significantly improve pronunciation. This information intrigued me, as I had not heard of the technique before. After the lesson, I visited the school reception to ask if there were any sports activities available. The receptionist informed me about a table tennis team and a football team, with the football team training that day at 5 p.m. I was excited because sports are important to me, and I joined the football training. There, I met players from various countries, including Brazil, Japan, Russia, Spain, Argentina, and Italy. I enjoyed the training and felt happy that my time in England was starting well. I had a great teacher, new friends from the football team, and I was set to start my job the next day. When you want to speak English fluently, practice thinking aloud. How to practice speaking. On Thursday, we had a new student in our class named Monica from Italy. At the beginning of the lesson, our teacher asked her how her life was. Monica had attended our teacher's beginner class for 2 weeks during the previous summer vacation. Monica spoke English beautifully, with excellent pronunciation and fluency. Our teacher was impressed and asked how Monica had improved so much, as she remembered Monica being a beginner a year ago. Monica explained that she had not attended another school but had followed the tips and techniques our teacher had taught last summer. She read a lot, studied, and practiced thinking aloud, trying to think more in English than in Italian. This daily practice helped her progress from a beginner to her current level. Monica's experience emphasized the importance of the techniques taught by our teacher. Intrigued by her mention of thinking aloud, I asked our teacher to explain it. Our teacher described it as a simple but powerful technique that requires strong motivation. It involves thinking in English instead of your native language and actually saying your thoughts out loud. This method helps reinforce language skills and fluency. Our teacher suggested asking Monica to share her experience with thinking aloud. Monica explained that she started with simple sentences, expressing thoughts like, "I can speak English," and "It's good that I can speak English." Although she initially struggled to simplify her thoughts into English, she gradually became accustomed to it. Monica shared that her turning point came when she met an Australian man while he was on vacation in Italy. Despite being a beginner, she could converse with him without major problems. She realized that thinking aloud had prepared her to speak English without the need for mental translation from Italian. This experience motivated her to use the technique even more, significantly improving her ability to express her ideas. She continues to use the technique daily, finding it a powerful tool for language learning. Our teacher thanked Monica for sharing her experience, and I decided to use the thinking aloud technique to improve my English speaking skills. How to evaluate your progress. On Monday, our teacher asked us what we did over the weekend. I shared that I worked on Saturday and noticed an improvement in my pronunciation from practicing shadowing. A classmate commented on how different my voice sounded, complimenting my improved pronunciation. Our teacher then asked if anyone else had tried shadowing. 3 students, including the South Korean student, raised their hands. One student mentioned that her mouth hurt after 5 minutes of shadowing and that she sometimes struggled to keep up with the speed of the recording. Our teacher explained that the mouth muscles need to be trained for this new way of speaking, similar to how muscles can ache after the first visit to a gym. With practice, shadowing becomes easier and helps improve various aspects of language, including intonation, rhythm, and connecting words and sentences. After discussing shadowing, I asked our teacher how we could determine our level of English vocabulary. She mentioned a website where we could take a test to estimate the number of words we know. The test is simple and has only 2 steps. I immediately took the test and found out that I know about 2,100 words in English. Most students knew between 2,000 and 2,200 words, with Monica and the South Korean student knowing around 2,500 words. Our teacher suggested that with our vocabulary level, we could start using Level 3 grammar from a specific website, which is designed for students who know between 2,000 and 3,000 words. She encouraged us to test our progress every month. How to handle mistakes. On Tuesday, another student asked an interesting question. She expressed a desire to practice speaking with people around her but was afraid of making mistakes and looking foolish. Our teacher addressed this concern, stating that making mistakes is a natural part of learning. She shared her experience of learning new languages and emphasized the importance of focusing on expressing ideas rather than avoiding mistakes. When we learned our native language, we made plenty of mistakes without worrying about them. The same should apply when learning a new language. She explained that the primary goal when using any language is to communicate ideas. Mistakes are inevitable but diminish over time as you continue to practice and use the language. Our teacher compared language learning to playing a musical instrument, where practice gradually leads to fewer mistakes. She advised not to fear mistakes but to view them as a necessary part of the learning process. The more you read, observe, and practice speaking, the fewer mistakes you'll make. Our teacher concluded by saying that even famous people, CEOs, and politicians make mistakes when speaking a foreign language. They focus on conveying their message rather than achieving perfection, and we should adopt the same attitude. This perspective resonated with the student, who thanked our teacher for the advice. In summary, to reduce mistakes, read and shadow regularly, and focus on communication rather than perfection.